Hey, I'm here with Reese from Trusted Property Inspection Group. And today I want to chat with you about the importance of inspection.
Absolutely.
So, why would a person buying a home with me, your realtor underscore Remington, want to buy a home inspection?
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a few different reasons, and it also depends on what type of property you're buying, right? I think any property, and this is not a sales tactic, but I think any property you should get a home inspection on. One, they're not terribly unaffordable. The average cost for a home inspection in your market, Remington, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, $400 to $600, right? So not completely unaffordable, but that report can catch some pretty major issues and save you a lot of money down the road.
What type of inspection reports are there?
Yeah. Yeah. So types of inspection reports. Usually, when you're doing a pre-purchase inspection, you're going to get something called a standard or a full inspection. That's going to cover pretty much all of the visible components of a property, from your roof down to your foundation, interior, exterior. And you also have other options to dig a little bit deeper into the property. That could be a sewer line inspection, your drainage under the home out to the street. That could be a radon inspection, depending on your location throughout the United States or the world. Some areas have high radon. That's a toxic gas. You may choose to get that tested as well, especially if you're going to own or occupy a property. And then there's lots of other additional services like termite inspections, mold inspections. What we usually recommend is if you're going to own or occupy a property, and the property is older, before 1980 really, then you should consider a radon, a termite, a sewer line. If you're getting into newer properties, you may not need a termite inspection because a lot of new construction in our area, they do termite treatments as a part of that new construction, right? You may not need a sewer line because, if the sewer line's newer, it's gonna have a pretty low likelihood of having issues, right? Um, but even if you're buying a new construction home, you should get a home inspection because even if we don't find anything serious, we'll always find something. And new construction, very easy, maybe not easy, but more likely than not, you can negotiate the price of that property, usually more than the cost of the inspection report. In older homes, well, one, it's very likely, especially on multifamily or investment or tenant property, it's very likely you might find an issue that's serious, um, and you can negotiate that. Something that might cost a couple $1,000s, you spent $600 or so on inspection, you might be able to negotiate $5,000 off. Worst case, you get nothing off, but you still have the peace of mind that at least nothing major is taking place in the property.
Great. So, I'm working with my buyer. They put something in contract and they hire you to do the inspection. They get back an inspection report that's 100 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of experience with doing work around the house. Does your job stop there once you get paid for the inspection, or is there a way for them to ask questions with you afterwards?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely not. So I think before you hire the inspector, something really important is to ask what type of reporting they do. How do they provide that report to you? Because you're absolutely right. You'll see paper reports or PDF reports that are 50, 60, 100 pages long. And it's really difficult when those reports also have no way to filter, no pictures, no like easy summary to group defects by. So what we use is called Spectora. It's a digital software. You're going to get a summary of the defects, as well as a detailed view. Now, with that being said, we also are available via phone call. So a lot of times you'll get that inspection report and it's overwhelming, especially for newer investors, because what we're going to do is we're going to put everything we see from serious issues to more minor issues, right? And so we will get on that phone. You'll reach out to us. You'll schedule a call with the actual inspector who did your report. And what we tell newer investors is, hey, let's focus on the major items. That's going to be your capital expenses, any structural concerns, safety hazards, or water issues. Those are going to be the top four things we're looking at. So capital expenses would be your roof, your HVAC, really outdated plumbing, things like that. Water intrusion would be either leaks from your plumbing system or also water intrusion from the exterior in, whether that's leaking windows or roof. That's something that, while it might seem not as important, it can cause mold over time. It can cause deterioration to the structure of the home. So really important as well. Safety hazards is obviously, or is pretty obvious. If there's any electrical issues or like really big safety concerns, we want to prioritize those as well. So things like that are what you're going to want to prioritize. You don't want to, and I'm sure you can reiterate this with your clients, is that you don't want to go and throw everything in that report at your seller, right? Because then they're just going to close up and not give you anything. But if you can point out, with those groups we just talked about, the major concerns, and then either get some quotes from contractors or Google some averages and come with some research behind a number you want off, oftentimes you can get that done.
Great. So my clients get the report. Typically, once we get an inspection report, we really have three options. We can, one, proceed with the deal as is. You get the inspection report, it looks great, you're happy, it's in line with what you expected. The second option is going to be to renegotiate the terms of the contract. Maybe we reduce the price, maybe we ask for seller paid buyer credits, or maybe we ask them to do some work. And then the third option is to terminate the deal and move on to another property. So assuming we make it through and we close the property, I can give you contractor referrals. Do you ever give contractor referrals? Is there any services that you provide afterwards?
Yeah, so we do for specific areas, perhaps structural engineer, roofers, major components, but they're always going in and out from a quality level. So you always want to be maybe joining Facebook groups of your market. In Columbus, we have one called The Cream. Those are really powerful to post online and ask other investors or other real estate professionals in your area who they're using, who they recommend. But we do come with some general recommendations to help you, especially if you are trying to get some quick pricing while in contract. And then after that, you can dig into online resources as well. And like you said, there's lots of options with a home inspection. So that's a primary reason you would get a home inspection report, is it gives you the ability to have a third party come in and give you research to show the seller, this is why I'm changing my mind on price, or why I'm renegotiating, or things like that. So you always have a lot of options with that report.
Great. And what did you do before you were a property inspector?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my adult professional career as a computer engineer, and I did that for about 5 years. And during that time, I got into real estate investing as well. I got my real estate license. I started buying rental properties in the Columbus market. And from that, I got interested in construction. As you start buying properties early on, you do a lot of the work yourself, oftentimes, especially if you're local. Started learning about construction. And as I transitioned out of engineering into construction, I thought the natural next step would be property inspections. So throughout the last 4 years that we've been in business, I'm now a licensed general contractor in Columbus as well. So that just provides a really good depth of knowledge, depth of experience that we can put into those property inspections reports for the clients.
Awesome. And what type of investment properties do you own yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I focus on multifamily investment property. Now, with that being said, right now it's mostly 2 to 10 unit properties. I do own a part of a commercial building as well with you.
Nice.
Right.
What is that commercial building?
That is a daycare center. Yeah. So it's a special.
Reese isn't allowed within 200 feet of it, but
yeah, don't say that.
That's funny.
Okay. Let me regain composure. So that's a purpose-built building that worked out really well because it's a space that already has the things you would want at a daycare. Small toilets for children, like restrooms purpose-built for small children, playground, very nice one, large amount of parking, things like that. So as I move forward, I'm looking to upsize. Over the years, I'm going to 1031 the smaller multifamily into bigger, get some economies of scale. Property management and maintenance will be a little bit more affordable on a per unit basis on a larger scale, and also get more into triple net commercial space.
So yeah, in conclusion, if you want to buy a property or sell a property, please reach out to Realtor Remington. And if you want to get an inspection report done, whether you're selling the property, pre-listing inspection, or in contract to purchase a property, a regular inspection, reach out to Reese with Trusted Property Inspections.
Yeah, absolutely. We service the Central Ohio and Northeast Ohio market. And you can visit us online at tpipro.com. Check us out and contact us from there.
So some of my sellers want to get a pre-listing inspection. Maybe it's in a really good area and we're expecting a lot of offers, or they just want to know what they should fix for the next buyer proactively. Can you explain a little bit what a pre-listing inspection is, and is that a service that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's pros and cons of a pre-listing inspection. It's generally very similar to a buyer's purchase inspection. It's going to cover the visible components of the property looking for major defects, right? Now, some benefits of a pre-listing inspection could be providing that report to buyers and getting offers that do not have inspection contingencies, cleaner offers, less likely to terminate and waste your seller's time. It can also be, of course, check with the attorney on this, but it's also a liability protection. You know, if you have an RPD, residential property disclosure, from your seller, and they also provide you a inspection report, there's very little that a buyer could show that they were hiding defects. You know, they tried to provide you everything they know about the property, right? Some cons of that is the seller may be made aware of more issues with their home and likely want to fix those before going to market. But once again, that can be a pro and con because you get to market with less issues, right, that could come up. So really it comes down to, I think, the price point of the home, the type of product you're selling as well. You may not consider this for tenant-occupied properties. It comes down to the situation you're in, especially the market conditions as well. And you can discuss that, of course, with your realtor, see if that might be worthwhile for you.